Okay, so today is the 25th of February 2017. We have been in our host homes basically for a week now. As you can see, I am sunburnt and exhausted. It's been intense, and I'm not gonna lie, it's been difficult. I don't want this to be fake. I don't want to pretend that everything's been happy-go-lucky and it's easy and it's carefree, because it's not. It's been difficult. But I'm still here, and I still want to be here, which is key. But everything is just a massive culture shock. Like today, on the way back from the team meeting, I got charged, well, the combi drivers tried to charge me double because I was white. They weren't even subtle about it. They were blatantly like, she's white, she pays more, you know, they're not meant to be here, she has to pay double, she's got money, which made me feel quite upset, I'm not gonna lie. It was a shock. I didn't expect to ever experience something like that in my life. Thankfully my counterpart and the other national volunteers stood up for me and were like, no, like, she's one of us, like, we're the same, we're equals, that's not fair. So that was really lovely, really great of them. Mama, my host mum, has had to do it as well for me several times, but I just wasn't aware because it was all in Shona. Also, when you step outside, everyone just looks at you. It's like, whoa, there's a Marungu, which means white foreigner. Everyone's saying hi, like yelling, whistling. It's very full on. I did expect it, but experiencing it is just, when you're already tired, is like, whoa. I've had someone randomly come up behind me and stroke my hair. So it's taking time to adjust to everything. I still don't know where I am in relation to anything else. It would be very easy for me to get lost. No idea where the roads go or how long. So I'm very much relying on my national counterpart. Yeah, and I mean, we're a group of 4 here in Glenview, but we're 4 very strong-willed, opinionated women. So that has brought up its own challenges again. We're still trying to figure out the team dynamic, because it is only the first week, so obviously there are going to be more challenges in the first week. So yes, we're trying to figure out the team dynamic, try and kind of balance it so we all feel heard. And yeah, it was interesting, our first day out, I'm not going to lie. But on the positive side, we have met up with some schools, social workers. My mum is a social worker. We went to a disability school for children with quite severe learning and physical disabilities. So hopefully we're going to be able to do some things for that centre, that school, because they're all volunteers, the workers that work there. And then we were really welcomed at Glenview Fort Primary. They were just fantastic. They wanted us 5 days a week, so they were really welcoming, and the kids were really happy to see us, and that made me feel better. Kind of another side of the culture shock, which was nice. And then yeah, so we're just gonna keep going around trying to find schools to do sessions in, plan our sessions, and then get going with the sessions, because we haven't started those yet. We've been trying to settle in, so hopefully once we start the sessions and things get going, things will hit a routine. It'll be a lot smoother. I'm really looking forward to doing the sessions and to teaching HIV and AIDS and sexual reproductive health. That is why I'm here. So once I start teaching and I start seeing the results, I'll definitely be a lot more positive. But it's just crazy. I mean, we had to leave team meeting early because the field outside the hut, the opposition political party had started to gather, and because obviously this is a politically sensitive country, we have to, not engage in politics, and, for our own safety we leave. So the simple things like that is just so not the norm that it just takes time to process. So yes, this first week has been tough, and I'm still trying to process it, but by no means am I giving up, and I'm excited to see what our team in Glenview and our team in Harare can achieve and can do, because I'm sure we can do something. Even if it changes one person's life, then going through this has been absolutely worth it. And even if I've struggled, if I see one little girl, one little boy change their attitude to something, or discover something new, or have belief in themselves that they can achieve something, then I'm pleased that I've done it. And I'm pleased that I've been here. It's been a whirlwind, it's been a roller coaster. But we'll see what comes, and I'm hesitant but excited to see what comes. So we'll see what happens next week, and then I will let you know how that week has gone. So bye. Okay, so this is the second week I've been in my host home, and third week I've been in Zimbabwe. This week I have been ill. So I've been ill all week, which has kind of been a blessing in disguise, as it's given me time to wrap my head around things. It's given me time to process the previous 2 weeks, just allowed my mind to catch up with the whole experience. It turns out I'm allergic to the chlorination and the purification things that are used to purify the water. So for the rest of my time here, I'm going to be on antihistamines, because I developed a really bad rash. I was really quite ill and really under the weather, which is not ideal. However, I'm going to still use the water purification stuff because I'd rather take an antihistamine every day than get typhoid or cholera. So I took this week off just to get back on my feet, take antibiotics as well, in case I'd caught anything from the water and that was making me ill. And it was good. It was just spending time in my own head, figuring things out, figuring out where I was in the whole situation, and processing everything that I'd been through so far, because it all happens so quick and it's always go, 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 and I don't think I'd had time to process properly in my head and figure out a strategy on how I wanted to deal with these next coming weeks. So it was nice to, spend time in my own head, figure things out, and know what my next steps are. It's just something that I personally need to do. Not everyone needs to do it, but it's all well and good doing training sessions on stress management and doing things for your own mental health, and then another thing, actually doing it and taking the time out and saying, you know what, I need to spend time mentally processing the change and the difference in the culture shock. So I'm glad that I took that time off. I could reassess, things and properly focus on why I'm here. So my team were really great about it. They went out and did the sessions this week. They did the sessions on sexual abuse, which is obviously a very tough topic, but they're very good. They're very good, my team. We're all very strong-willed women, as I think I've said before. So yeah, they didn't have a problem delivering the sessions at all. What else has happened this week? We did have a bit of a problems with the government schools. We haven't got the letter from the Minister of Secondary and Primary Education, just because the system's a little bit slower here. So a lot of the government schools won't risk working with us without that letter, which is understandable. They don't want to be, well, they said they could be arrested, and it's quite, I think it's quite serious for them to potentially be seen working with us without permission from the government here in Zimbabwe. So that's made things a little bit tougher. So we've been having to find different colleges, some of which are private. So we're trying to get that all sorted out. And what else? Today we all met up, Team Harare, and we went to a hustlers market, which was women focused as it's Women's Month. Got these earrings, as I'm sure you can see. Got another pair as well. That was really nice to see the rest of Team Harare, see Bethan, who I'm really close with. I only get to see her once a week, so that was nice to catch up and, you know, go back into Harare. But it's just as manic as before. Last time we were in Harare, it was a Sunday, so it was quite a bit quieter. A lot of the shops were shut, whereas this time, as it's a Saturday, all the shops are open. Streets are packed, absolutely packed. Combis and drivers and cars everywhere. If you've crossed a road without being hit by a car, you've done well. It's just absolute madness. There's no rules to the road, there's no rules to crossing. It's just go and pray and dodge. So you've got to be quick on your feet. I looked like a right tourist. It was raining, so I had my bright blue anorak on with my hood up, you know, and my toggles pulled so I didn't get wet. And then I had my rucksack on my front rather than on my back, because that's how I wear it for security reasons. I don't want to risk having things pickpocketed out my bag, things stolen. Don't get me wrong, the crime rate here is actually quite low, but things like petty theft is probably the #1 crime that you get. And as a Westerner, as a white foreigner, when people see us, they see money. I've heard money yelled at me, and so when there's a group of us walking along, we're like blinking targets. We're quite obvious, and so I just wanted to take steps to make sure that my stuff was safe. So with my rucksack on the front, and inside the bag I've got another bag with a small portion of my money, and then I've got a money belt thing that goes under my top, which has my phone and the bulk of my money, which is impossible to get at if you're somebody else, because it's tucked straight to my body under all my clothing, but easy for me to get things out when I need them. So yes, I'm a little security conscious, but that's definitely the best way to be. You know, in the past they say in every cycle people get money stolen and phones stolen from their pockets when out and about in Harare. I just don't want to risk it. So okay, I don't look the most fashionable, but it's very hard for someone to steal something from my rucksack when I have it on my front and I'm seeing it and watching it 100% of the time. Because it's so busy in Harare, it would be very easy to be distracted and have something go from your back. You're dodging people, you're dodging cars, you're dodging combis, music's blaring, people are yelling Marungu, hi, and you know, trying to shake your hand, and everyone's like, whoa, and yeah, it's just hectic. A lot of the stalls, I say stalls, but they just lay their stuff all out on the street and on the road, so you're stepping over a lot of the merchandise, you're stepping over people, they're yelling prices, they've got their speakers up, yeah, it's an experience. It's a different kind of hectic to, I would say, London. So still trying to get used to that. But I'm glad that I had the week of reflection, so I was in a better mindset to deal with it, rather than going straight into it again and having my head everywhere and trying to figure things out on the fly. So I was a lot more calm, a lot more collected, and okay, this is what I'm going to expect, this is what I'm going to deal with, it's going to be okay. So yeah, today was a good day. Harare itself, how do I describe Harare itself? I want to put this the right way. You can tell by the capital how economically the country is struggling. It's very obvious that there is a money and a cash flow problem. The queues for the banks go round blocks. There are stories of people queuing for 24 hours just to get to the ATM. And when you get to the ATM, apparently at the moment you can only get $40 out per citizen per day because there's not enough money within the banking system. So I was trying to explain to Grace, my counterpart, that when I go to the ATM, like, there's very rarely a queue, and if there's a queue it's like 2 people and just getting money out and go. She found that quite amazing, that we don't have to queue for hours and hours to get a limited amount of money out. And I think that's why when we're seen in the town, people see money, and I understand that. I guess if you're really struggling, then you'll do whatever it takes. And I mean, I would just suggest to anyone that's coming to somewhere like Zimbabwe, know the history. You don't need to know it in depth, but if you're going to go to a country with such a full-on history as Zimbabwe, you might want to know why certain things are the way they are, why, as a white British person, sometimes you're met with hostility. I was trying to explain to some of the other volunteers why it's different because we're British, and how colonisation and their emancipation from us, and then Mugabe's treatment and decisions when it came to white Africans, how that's affected the country today, and why we're not always met with the friendliest of smiles. It's not very common to be met with hostility. The majority of people you meet are really lovely, but if you don't understand, then I guess it's more upsetting than if you do kind of understand, you do kind of get it. To anyone that's going to visit Zimbabwe or volunteer in Zimbabwe, I recommend watching, it's a movie, it's called Mugabe and the White African. That gives you some interesting background on a certain period of time here. And I think it's important to know where you're going, know the risks, deal with the risks. You know, okay, you might look like a fool when you've got a million security procedures in place, but at the end of the day, your money's safe, your phone is safe. You know, another volunteer had $25 taken from her lap in a split second and just turned and it was just gone. I don't want that to be me. I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to lose my phone. You know, and when you're in the combis, you know, don't put things on your lap. Keep your things tight in your bag. You know, they say the combis are for 15 people. I've counted 24 at least. People holding on to the sides, out the doors, on the back. So it's so cramped, and when people get off and on, there's like constant musical chairs. People are getting up, people are getting down. And it's very easy for something to just go from your lap, and you would just have no idea until like 200 meters down the road, and then it's way too late. So yes, people laugh at me. The other volunteers find me quite amusing, but at the end of the day, I'm happy. So I don't particularly mind, don't particularly care. I'm looking forward to this coming week. Hopefully I'm going to start doing some sessions rather than being ill. So get to meet the kids, get to teach the kids. I think we're going to do a little bit more on sexual abuse. Yep, which is quite a heavy topic, but it's a good one to teach, it's a good one for the kids to know. The others as well, in the other areas of Harare, I've been doing sexual abuse the faculty especially are focusing on it for their in-school campaign because the teachers have raised it as an issue in that area, and that a lot of the children do suffer, which is sad, that it needs to be addressed, but I guess that's why we're here. We've got to figure out our school campaigns. Hopefully we're going to work with the Disability Centre. So yeah, there's some exciting things to come. I think we're visiting the National AIDS Council on Monday. So I've got church tomorrow as well. My first time going to church here in Zimbabwe. Can't remember the last time I went in the UK. So there's lots of interesting experiences coming up. And now that I'm better, now that I'm well, it'll be exciting to experience it all, and my head's in a good place now, so I can deal with it. So I will just keep you up to date.